It always feels like the hotels at Disney World are somehow at capacity, even when the parks aren't. At least that's what shareholders have been led to believe. But is it true? Well, folks, we're going to bring you the kind of info you need to know if you've ever been curious about what's really happening at Disney World hotels. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the happiest YouTube channel that ever was. Vash Sky is in the lead here today, and we're going to get ready to bring you what you need to know. Let's go. Click that like button. And Vash, bring up the article. Get ready, folks. You're going to love this one. It is out of the Disney tourist blog. Tom Bricker, the excellent one, has written this one. Why Disney World hotels still sell out despite lower crowds. Now, what we're going to go to is something that's going to have big time import for those of you who invest or care about investing, but we're not here to give you any kind of financial or investing advice. But take a look at this. It says Walt Disney World resort occupancy by year. And this is public information. This has been picked up by Disney Tourist Blog, and I just want to show you that in 2019, they claimed they had 90% resort occupancy. Then in 2020 and 2021, they claimed 43 and 42% for obvious reasons. You all know about the pandemic. You lived through it. In 2022, they claimed they had 82%. In 2023, 85% occupancy. In 2024, also 85% occupancy. But what if I told you that according to this article, folks, those numbers don't mean what you think they mean, which I mean to say is something that the mouse often does and gets away with largely. What am I talking about? Well, it turns out, Vash, that these occupancy rates are not just for when hotels have people in them, which is what most people and perhaps shareholders and stockholders might believe. Instead, if a room is made available by Disney, then it gets counted in this statistic. However, if Disney doesn't sell the hotel room that night, if they don't make it available for purchase, so let's say, for example, during the pandemic, they had entire wings of rooms unavailable, didn't put them up for sale. Or, for example, when Disney decides they're going to do refurbishments, or when they have to clean them for a couple of days instead of just between guest stays. Whatever the case might be, Disney does not count occupancy rates for hotel rooms that they're not selling for any reason whatsoever. It's only if the hotel room is for sale publicly and it doesn't go for sale. So when you see things like 85% in 2023 and 24, the reality is it's probably way lower than that, significantly lower than that. And guess what, Vash? It gets worse because it turns out, Vash, that according to our research, Disney also sells large blocks of hotel rooms, whether they get used or not, to places like the Department of Defense, which I think has been renamed now. But for those of you who go by that name, Department of Defense, or other like large corporations, they'll buy out these huge blocks of hotel rooms, and then whether they get used or not, doesn't matter. What you might notice, ladies and gentlemen, is that when you go to Disney World and you say, how can it be? How can it possibly be that it appears when I go on the website that I can't get a room at Pop Century? How is that? What if I told you that there is the illusion being created, purposefully or not, but an illusion being created of high demand, and it's when you get into the theme parks and see nobody's here now that you can go back to this video and know how it's done. How is it that the hotel parking lot doesn't have the same number of cars, and yet you can't get a room, you can't book it here? Vash, what do you make of this system that Disney has created, apparently, that gives the false sense of, oh man, I got that FOMO. We got to get that contemporary hotel room right now.
Are you telling me, Pro, that Disney would stoop to a deplorable level as to limit capacity for one of their attractions in order to foment false demand for it? I'm shocked. I'm absolutely shocked. I've never seen this before. Oh wait, we see it in the parks all the time. This is no surprise to me, honestly. This is how they appear to shareholders and to guests, quite frankly, that hey, we're in demand. There's not much room left. You got to order now, book now, and so forth, and get people to buy in, whether it be a hotel or the Walt Disney Company for that matter. and think, oh, hey, you know what? I got in, we're good to go. When in fact, they do close off whole wings. I mean, I've heard this line before, actually. This is going back to 2001. We all know what happened that year, obviously, and Walt Disney World was truly affected by it. And I heard whole wings of the Grand Floridian were closed back at that time because they simply couldn't afford to maintain all of it with no occupancy there, for sure. This, no surprise, bro. No surprise. And it's Disney manipulating things behind the scenes in order to appear a certain way when they're not.
Absolutely. And I want to give another shout out to Tom Bricker because he does such a wonderful job of articulating that there are 30,000 total, somewhere around that vicinity, but slightly more than 30,000 total hotel rooms across Walt Disney World Resort. Yep. So, folks, what we need to tell you on that is if Disney filled to capacity every single one of their hotels, right, that still would not be half of the number of guests that come to their theme parks on a daily basis. So the hotel rooms, they do matter. And we're not even getting into DVC right now. The hotel rooms do matter. But just know that Disney can move these things around. They can shift these things around, and they're minuscule in comparison to how many cars you're going to see in the Magic Kingdom parking lot, the Epcot parking lot, etc. The majority of guests, even if you don't guess this, even if maybe you're one of those elitists who says, I'll never stay off property. I'll have to raise my hand. I do like to stay on property. But maybe you're one of those who holds your nose at the idea of staying off property. What you need to realize is, whenever you're at Disney World, you might not like it, you might not wish it was this way, but easily, the majority of the people there, they're staying offsite in other hotels, or they're locals, or they drove in from Georgia and they'll go back that night. Whatever the case may be, the hotel occupancy is a minority system. But what is not a minority system is, yet again, we see another layer of how Disney gives you a statistic that very clearly looks like it's one thing, and then you go, oh, this hotel occupancy rate isn't actually the hotel occupancy rate. What are you guys doing? It's actually how successful Disney is at selling only the hotel rooms they choose to sell on any given day.
Right.
You got to read the fine print. You got to read it, folks.
And let's think about this for a moment too. Let's assume that they were topping at 85%, 90% occupancy all the time. One would presume it's like, well, maybe we should think about investing in more hotel rooms at a certain point, because obviously we're hitting close to our caps here. We want to be ready for when that demand surges, but we don't really see that. In fact, I don't think we've seen a new resort hotel be constructed for a very long time. People might be asking, wait a minute, there's a Riviera, there's this, there's that. Those are all DVC hotels, and that's what we're seeing, bro. This is very interesting. They're not really adding capacity for like regular hotel rooms. They're adding on to the Walt Disney World Resort by developing new DVC properties that people buy in for 25 years and so forth. That's what we're seeing, and that might be indicative of Disney's true occupancy levels that they really haven't added to them in quite some time.
Now, I do want to push back against any of those out there who might be so smart that you think that you've discovered a hole in our argument. For those of you who are true Disney experts, somebody out there might say, hey, pro, those numbers include Disneyland. So you guys have messed up. You're faking it. To which I say, one, no, it works the same way in both places. But two, Walt Disney World has easily more than 10 times the number of rooms for hotels as Disneyland. So for all intents and purposes, Disneyland doesn't have the ability to statistically shift what we're talking about in any meaningful way. So and we're not trying to be mean to Disneyland. We're just saying there's a lot more hotel rooms to the point that it makes it minuscule what impact Disneyland could have on what we're discussing.
And this is why Bricker lists out this is Walt Disney World Resort occupancy specifically, right? And yes, you're right, Pro. Over 30,000 rooms at Walt Disney World, while Disneyland has a total of 2,863 rooms on property available right now. That's of the recent. That's after the recent the DVC tower that was just added to there. So that's all of those combined. That's the official number right there because I documented it, Pro. I'm a Disney expert too.
And we love Disneyland, folks. Vash loves Disneyland. I love Disneyland. The castle's not as grand, but we get it's the original, and they've got more rides. Listen, pros and cons. We're not here to start a big war versus you all who want us to do so. Happiest, most magical places. pit against each other? Nay, I say, not here. All right, folks, thank you for being near and dear to us and coming to find out what's really going on behind the curtains of the House of Mouse. We're so happy that you've done so. Shout us out, please. Click that like button, share, subscribe, click it, stick it to the algorithms. It is the notification bell. Drop a comment down below. Let us know your thoughts on all of this. And if you go on another vacay at Disney, stop on by some of those rooms. You don't knock on the door. Don't do that. It's rude. But just check and see, just anecdotally. Do you think those rooms are filled around you? And yet, was it difficult to get a room? Why? Let us know. Folks, there's also the hype button. We certainly do appreciate it now if you hype it up. The time is ripe to hype the channel. Folks, until next time, we have the opportunity of spending time with you. Stay classy, San Diego. We'll be your news that should be fun.
Thanks for watching That Park Plays News. For more information, consider checking out www.thatparkplace.com. And don't forget to subscribe, share, like, and send this out on your favorite social media accounts.